Yeah, James, this past weekend, I spent my Friday night at Cash, and I got a chance to spend it with my guest right there. You see him right there. Spoiling the surprise, Billy Palmer. Uh, I talk all the time about how my guests here on Spoken Freely are very hardworking, and so many of them wear so many different hats. As they can tell right now, you're the first guest I've had that has shown up wearing a tie, and and that is because we are filming this on a Sunday night. And it turns out, as Friday nights are a big deal for you, as the play-by-play voice of the Cash blogs for Oklahoma Sports Network, Sundays are a pretty big deal for you too, as you are a pastor, and so. Billy Palmer, welcome to Spoken Freely. We talked about it. You were nice enough to plug it on the OSN broadcast the other night. Thanks for coming on, my dude.
Yeah, man, good to be here. Yeah, it's a busy day for me, but every day is busy for me. So
Yeah,
that's all good.
yeah. Sundays are a little special to you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I say this all the time. We all of us that are in sports media got into this business, I feel like, because we are fans. But clearly, God had other plans for you as well. But what made you want to? Was there a certain age or a certain point in your life that you felt like, man, being involved in sports? Because as I understand, you were also very heavily involved with the Youth Soccer Association in Lawton. You have kids who play soccer. I know it's a sport that you also call for OSN, and a sport that you are slowly learning more and more about. Was there a certain point in your life that you thought, man, I really want to do sports media, but maybe not full time?
I mean, I've got it back to when I was a big Darryl Strawberry fan. I'm still a big Darryl Strawberry fan. First team I ever really fell in love with. I'm a baseball guy mainly. I like everything, but baseball is my true love. I remember watching New York Mets. Back then, there used to be, like, you had WGN, TBS. There was a New York Superstation.
Yeah.
Where I grew up at, it was on, and I actually would have a tape recorder, and I would actually call games. I would turn the sound down when I was 8, 9, 10 years old. So from then, very early on, I wanted to do stuff like this. Had the chance to do it out of high school quite a bit. Actually did some sports talk show stuff in Ada. Worked a little bit with KREF for a short time in Norman. And so I knew then, working, when I especially did the sports talk show stuff myself, I loved it. But as you know, it's hard to make a living off of it.
Unless you're spade a spade, yeah.
Yeah. Unless you're put in the right situation, and it is a absolute ton of work if you do it right. And so these people don't see the time spent behind editing and doing all that stuff, right? They see the final product. And so from a very early age, I knew I wanted to do this a little bit. When I moved to Lawton, took the preaching job here in Lawton, ran into Eric Sharam, who also is a preacher in town, and got to talking, and he realized I'd called some games in the past before and put me to work. I'm a big high school football fan, graduated from Conoway High School, and I don't have a team, so I can't go back. Conoway's 2.5 hours away from here, and so I needed a team locally, and so I got involved with the Oklahoma Sports Network.
And you've done quite a great job there. You've been with Cash for what? Is this your
3 years?
season?
It's my third season with Cash. Yep.
Cash Bulldogs, and this is what we call in the business a teaser. Might have you on in a couple of weeks with your now friendly foe. Good Vinny. Why am I blanking on it? Is it Vincent Saylor? Longtime partner of yours, now calling Elgin. But Cash, that was just one of the games locally that we had, and that was the only one that you got to watch. But Oklahoma Sports Network, they carry most of the big local schools in the Lawton area, all 3 Lawton high schools, Cash, Elgin, Duncan, and as well as schools like Midwest City, Carl Albert, and Noble and Newcastle, just to name a few. UConn joined this year. It's much like the March Madness in the spring. I feel like it only really feels like high school football season when you get some like big upsets, and we already had that, and not necessarily upsets, just kind of interesting results. We had a number 1 go down as Carl Albert didn't just lose to Coweta.
Yeah, bad.
Kind of got smoked, and that was not to put on my smug bow tie there, but I did say before the season, I told Kevin Green in our podcast, I said, if you want a sleeper in 5A, don't sleep on Kawita, because
Yeah.
not only do they have Mason Ford, he's an explosive athlete, but they have a move-in, the quarterback who was at Putnam City North last year,
Yeah.
and who is quite good as well. And man, they just really took it to the Titans. In 4A, we both saw the Cash Tuttle game, and you were kind enough to have me on the broadcast for a little bit, and I said, you know what, if I know that rankings can sometimes lie, but if Tuttle is truly the number one team in 4A, I think 4A is kind of wide open, because, and not that they looked bad, but what did you see both from Cash and from Tuttle that maybe told you what to expect from the west side of the state in 4A this year?
So Tuttle, yeah, like you said, if that is the best team in 4A, reminder, it's week 0, right? I believe they had 10 false start penalties. Tuttle did, and so I don't think we saw them even at full strength. Really, they're still kind of trying to figure some things out. Got a ton of talented guys, very young team still, with Mason Dennis at quarterback, McAdoo, the guy that they put that guy all over the place. He's going to be a beast. Tucker, 2 sophomores. I mean, so guys that are going to be there for a couple more years. Tuttle, I think they're going to have some issues. I think they're probably still. That's to say, they're still going to be a top 3 team in my opinion. Their defense was phenomenal. Now on the flip side of that, Cash coming off a 2-8 season last year where it went south. First 2 games they did all right, and after that it just went south in a hurry. So they are really in that rebuilding year. You've heard the slogan if you've been watching them or reading the papers, brick by brick, right? They think that everything has been burned to the ground. It's an old emperor from Rome that said when Rome got burnt to the ground, they were going to rebuild things brick by brick. And so Coach Farron Griffin says that's really what they're trying to do, is rebuild everything brick by brick. I think the key to that game, and I saw that you wrote about this as well, we talked about this a little bit on air, was the fact that they never quit. Right? Last year they get down like that. They got down 20-0 at half, came out the second half, got a 3 and out, and scored. Of course, Tuttle goes down and scores again, but the entire game they're still right there. And so, and again, Tuttle's tough. And you got Tyler Harbin for Cash, first game at quarterback.
Yeah,
God bless him.
Kid.
Yeah, God bless you. The number 1, AP team preseason in the state. Tuttle, I guess, probably one of the best defenses in 4A. And so it's hard to tell what Cash is off of that. And Tuttle, I think they're going to be right there. What I'm looking forward to in 4A, Clinton beat Kingfisher. Now you got a big one this week. Clinton goes to Bishop McGinnis. That could be fun. That should be fun. I really like Bishop McGinnis quite a bit.
I do too.
Yeah,
I think I even picked them, maybe with my heart over my head, but I think I picked them to win 5A this year. I think with River Warren back at quarterback and Mike Taffy, who I've just heard nothing but great things about. And much like I said, you and I, we're all fans. And I feel like the one thing that I miss out on as a sports writer is I go to one game a week and I'm like, man, I would love it. I cover the local teams, but I'm like, I would love to just do a road trip one weekend and maybe I'm going to go to Tulsa or go to Oklahoma City and cover a different game. I would love to get to see Bishop McGinnis and Clinton, because first of all, talk about 2 of the great coaches and coaching staffs. You rarely hear about Clinton beating themselves, and Kyle Weatherly from Channel 7 was talking to him on the sidelines at Cash the other night, and I said that in 4A, I think a lot of the power is going to be on the east side. I think you've got, I think I said probably the top 3 teams in the state. And this is before the game, before we saw what Tuttle had. But I said, I think the top 3 teams, state contenders, are probably in the east side of the state, referring to Cushing, Wagner, and Poto. And he looked at me and he was like, dude, you can never count out Clinton, because I know they lost a lot last year. You can never count them out. And you hold Kingfisher to 6 points.
Yeah,
that's not nothing. And we also saw other teams that are going to be state title contenders. Really, what's so interesting about these non-district games is you have these clashes of top 5, top 10 teams.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious, Lincoln Christian did a number on Holland Hall, 56-7. The Bulldogs should be just fine. I think I made a reference to somebody who said Max who? It's like they don't miss Max Brown that
Right.
much.
Yeah.
And Anadarko, who Elgin starts the season out with this week, rough one against Lone Grove, 55-26. And the Lawton schools, 2 of the 3 got started. MacArthur, really nice win over John Marshall. I have not gone back and watched the OSN broadcast, which you can do, by the way, if you have the app or the Roku app.
For free, by the way. Don't pay for those links. People are getting scammed over.
Absolutely free. Yes, for sure. And plenty of great sponsors, local sponsors that help out with that. Eisenhower, honestly, I mean, you lose by 13 to Ardmore. I don't think there's much shame in that, given how good I think Ardmore could be, and the fact that Javon Harris has a pretty young team, and it's his first game as head coach, and your partner in crime this year on the air, JW De Silva, was giving you updates throughout the night. And when he said that it was only 14-13, I think in the second half, I was like, whoa, Eisenhower doing some stuff. Also, if you happen to have the Oklahoma Sports app, Oklahoma Sports Network app, or go to the website, and it gives me no joy to report this, but if you want to go to the Cash Bulldogs page and watch the replay of the game, I'm sure I will include a link in the description. I by hook or by crook, got roped into the halftime punt, pass, and kick contest because why?
So good.
It was so dumb. And I'm standing in line for concessions. And they said, if you have a signature on page 4 by our athletic director, you're part of this. I'm like, oh, that'd be kind of funny. Whatever. And I flip them like, you're kidding me. If you want to watch a grown 32-year-old man embarrass the heck out of himself in front of thousands of people, please go do that. I know my family will want to.
It was so great. I was just doing what I do. I sit there, I'm eating a piece of pizza or something, and all my guys are taking break. My camera guy's not even upstairs. And
you're like, whoa!
And I said, I heard the punt, pass, and kick. And I said, oh, that's interesting. I'm going to watch this. And got on the headset. And I saw you in your orange shirt down there. Of course, you were standing out. And I'm like, oh, no. And so my wife watched the broadcast back, and she said I was being too mean to you.
I don't know if you're being mean enough. Did you see that punt? That was not good.
I was now listen. I was fascinated not by. I love the comedic timing of the lady that was running that down there, emceeing it. You got down there after your whatever pass, and she says, I don't think he won, or whatever.
Well, I don't think he's going to win. Yeah. I was like, I don't
think he's going to win.
You don't need to be coy about it. You just say, man, that guy sucks.
And then it didn't stop there because you had to go hold for the guy.
I had to hold for the field goal for the guy that came closest to winning. And the thing was, I think he had plenty of leg on the field goal. If he made the field goal, he wins $100. Cold hard cash.
So
and I honestly, I've held for field goals before, not in like organized football. Let's be clear here. Okay. I had 2 things going against me in that thing. I never played organized football. I was wearing jeans, and both those guys were wearing shorts. And the guy who won is like a solid 5 years younger than me. Played high school ball all 4 years. Like, this isn't going to go well for Glenn.
Now I got a question. So, did you hold laces out?
I held laces out.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey,
Dan Marino. Yeah.
I was so proud of that. I'm glad you did that. I'm trying to rope them in. I'm going to try to let me do it as well.
You should. Yeah. No, honestly,
I'm
going to try. Much like sports, or much like high school football, I never did theater like as a full thing in high school, but I'm an entertainer at heart, and I want to give the people what they want. And if they want to see a sports writer embarrass himself, like, yeah, let's do this. I have no problem embarrassing myself. I think it was a lot of fun. And honestly, I think, more people should do a punt, pass, and kick contest. It's funny. It's honestly, I don't know how long I never measured how far I could throw a football or punt a football. And so I'm thinking I'm probably about on par with these guys, maybe a little shorter. And then they punted, and I was like, I'm not at all.
And I, as I was watching this unfold before my eyes, I was just thinking and they started off. They asked everybody who the introduction. Who are you? Where are you from? Oh, I'm from Cash. I'm from Cash.
And Glenn, did you go to Cash High School? And I was like, I did not.
No.
Boo! And I loved your wrestling terminology on the broadcast. You're like, we got a heel turn from Glenn. And I was like, look, if I need to be the, I don't even know who the top heel.
It's all about the people. It's all about the people.
Yeah, exactly. It is all about the people. Yeah, at that point, yeah, it was a lot of fun. And man, Cash goes to Altus this week. It's Jackson County. Altus, program that's been kind of, in transition for goodness, feels like 2.5, 3 years now. They changed coaches in the middle of the season last
year.
That was a weird situation. That's all I'll say about it. And you know what? I think Dusty Davis, reverting back to the wishbone, I don't think that's a bad thing, considering it's a lot of those kids, what they've known for years of football in Altus. But we've also seen programs like Ardmore go from a triple option offense to a spread offense. You adapt to what you've got. And I don't know if they had the players to run kind of a spread offense the past couple of years. I think they could have been on their way to doing that. But are there any other games, if you weren't calling the Cash game this week, are there any other games in the area that really kind of piqued your interest?
In the area, I'd like to see what Elgin can do. I'm still, after Griffin said he went over there and watched a scrimmage a couple weeks ago and said, man, they're good. He said they're good. Now, Elgin, unfortunately, is getting brought up to 5A. They're starting to get some momentum, and all of a sudden they're like, all right, send you up to class.
Play the big boys, yeah. I think my phrasing was, this team is going to keep getting better. Whether you will see that reflected in the win column, I don't know, because that's a team that won 4 games last year, nearly made the playoffs in a very competitive district.
Yeah.
In 4A1. Yeah. Competitive in 5A is a different animal altogether, especially when you're in there with Noble and Ardmore and MacArthur.
Yeah.
And by the way, Midwest City, who moves down. I will likely be at the MacArthur Eisenhower game this week, which I'm very intrigued by, to see what both teams have. MacArthur, of course, coming off a state semifinal appearance. Just really excited to have football back, and we'll have college football back soon. I will say, you're not the only. I've got my
you got generic football back.
Yeah, I've got generic football stadium back here, but I do have my Oklahoma. Well, it's blending in right now, but it's Oklahoma State beanie. But yeah, the Sooners and Cowboys get started this week. You are not the only OU fan I've had on this show, but certainly the only one to, I believe, have a helmet and a Bob the Tomato in the background, which I think is a great combination, quite frankly. I might need to have you over to my house for some home decorating tips, because that is a great.
That was added by one of my 4 children. So
okay, yeah.
And a kind of a funny story. OU fan. I was actually born in Nebraska, so I have a grandpa that played for Nebraska 50, 60, sometime around there. I don't remember when. And so I he's Sooner born, Sooner bred. I was actually Cornhusker born and Sooner bred. I grew up. I've been in Oklahoma since I was 3, and so it used to be really a great time when Thanksgiving rolled around and OU Nebraska played, and family would come down and have a good time. And I'm still a Nebraska fan a little bit. I don't mind it when they lose, because I've got uncles that are big fans up there. So I enjoyed them losing the other day to Northwestern. I actually loved it.
I fell asleep. And then I woke up to a text that said, man, it looks like Scott Frost might be hitchhiking back from Ireland. And I was like, they did not lose that game. And they did.
That onside kick that he tried, I don't know that I do that, but and Casey Thompson
here, but
and Casey Thompson, Casey Thompson former player at Newcastle. I covered some stuff at Newcastle. Went down to Texas. Went up there.
Yeah.
Had a first half was brilliant. In fact, you looked at Twitter and they're like Heisman candidate Casey Thompson.
I think somebody on the Texas boards said, man, that game like encapsulated, that was like Casey Thompson 2021 in a nutshell. Like looks really good at the first half and just gets the bejeebus pounded out of him.
Threw for almost 400 yards and only one touchdown, 2 interceptions. That's like you said, that was Casey Thompson from last year.
Yeah. And again, continuing with the ties to you, I mean, and to this area, I mean, son of former Lawton High, Charles Thompson, and OU great quarterback there. But Billy, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, man.
And we will be sure to have you on more this season. And next time, I will be sure to get all the technical difficulties worked out of the way.
Oh, we're okay. Yeah, I noticed. Sorry for everybody home having to wear my DJ headphones here.
We'll fix it in post. We'll add it in post.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
All right. Well, for SpOKen Freely, I'm Glen Brockenbush. He's Billy Palmer. Thank you all for joining us and enjoy more football this week.